Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the It's Needed Podcast, where we discuss real issues involving law enforcement and the community. It's your boy, Ryan Tillman, founder of Breaking Barriers United, and I'm joined today by the one and only light-skinned Warner himself, Mr. Oh No, it's the Popo. What up, AJ?
What up? What up, what up, what up?
Can't even hear him through the mask that he got on right now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And we also got the Savage here himself with the mic again. What up, Savage?
No mask over here, but doing well.
Yeah, exactly. We are enforcing social distancing in here. I make sure I have my tape measure out before me and Billy start getting on this podcast. And I heard that you can contract the coronavirus through the mic. So that's why I got my mask on. AJ got his mask on so he don't get hit with it. You know what I mean?
That's right. Real talk, Billy don't need a mask because we both got masks on.
I'm about to take this thing off because it's going to get hot up in here. Oh, man. Hold on.
Woo! That thing hot.
Yes, it is. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, make sure my hat lined up. Yeah.
Man.
All right, can you hear me?
What is going on, bro?
I can't call it, brother. Can't call it. Just, as everybody else is right now, just kind of rolling with the punches, counting my blessings and, keeping it moving, man. How's things in California?
Hold on 1 second.
He got the mask stuck to it. He couldn't get the mask off, y'all.
Bro, that mask was going to choke me out, bro. Oh, man. Man, things in California.
That's how big Ryan's head is, y'all.
Hey, man. Hey, don't hate on my head, bro. Don't hate on my 8 head. But, man, things in California are crazy, bro. I mean, people are getting crazy with this quarantine, man. There's been a lot of, I would say there's been like a lot of positive stuff come out of it, but a lot of negative, obviously. I think more negative than positive right now. But I think one of the coolest things that I saw last week, because, we're still showing up to work every day. One of the things I noticed at work is when I was driving through neighborhoods, I was actually out, I saw families out there, walking together, jogging together, just spending time as families. And so I think we live in a country now where we're so distracted by our technology, by video games, by Instagram, social media, our jobs. So it was actually cool, man, to see families out there spending time together. That reminded me when I was younger growing up, man. So, but it's been crazy, man. Like I said, social distancing, man, practicing that. I had my tape measure out early before we started this podcast. I told Billy, I said, hey, bro, you come within 6 feet, we got problems.
We got problems. Yes, we definitely have problems. And the funny thing is, so California, I think, actually led the charge as far as like ordering everybody in the house. I don't know that to be true, but y'all had to be one of the first.
Yeah, it was us in New York, I think. It was us in New York.
We quickly followed. So now, we're essential workers only, starting midnight tonight. So Shelby hit me up this morning. She's like, hey, babe, can you run up to CVS and grab something? So I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So I go to CVS and I got I didn't want to grab a basket because I don't want to touch a basket, right? Like, so I literally have like both arms like full of stuff. And I'm like, okay, just make it to the counter and you can just dump everything on the counter. You'll be good. So there was a guy checking out, right? So I'm like, no worries. I'm going to just, slide in behind him and dump everything on the counter. Man, I got within like 4 feet of the dude and his eyes got real big and he looked at me. And then the CVS employee was like, hey, blue line. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Like I just wasn't thinking this early. You know what I'm saying? So I take a couple steps back. There's a line on the ground. And she's like, I said the blue line. So I look back, bruh. She had like masking tape and it was like 20 feet away with like this big square that said social distancing. And then there was another big square, like another 20 feet. And I'm just like, oh man, I appreciate it. You know what
Meanwhile,
I mean?
AJ's over there struggling to hold his groceries, bro. He's like, shivering at the knees, buckling at the knees.
I dropped like half the stuff. As soon as she called me, like I took one step and it was just like, blow. She was like, oh my goodness.
My goodness, man. That's crazy. Savage, how you been holding up, man?
Good. My day-to-day doesn't feel any different just because I've been working from home lately. So I'm still home.
Hey, that was a low-key flex, though.
No, not really.
That was a low-key flex, though.
Oh, and a low-key flex.
So everything's canceled until May, and then who knows if even everything can open up in May. I don't know.
That's crazy. I saw a meme. It was so funny, man. He was like, this has to be the greatest flex in history, bro. And it was a guy that bought an island for his family to go live on.
Yeah, soccer player.
Yeah, he was like, this has to be the biggest flex ever.
Hey, literally in the history of flexing, like who? First off, who could buy an island? All right. And then who buys the island during this time and goes, you know what? I'm gonna check on my family's temperature, make sure y'all all right. Y'all coming out with me. We just kicking it until this whole thing passes. Zombies can't swim. So
somebody should go swim to his island, bro, and infect the island.
Yeah, start coughing on everything.
Oh man, so it's been crazy times, huh?
Did you hear about who were they? The higher ups. I can't think of the name right now.
Oh, you talking about that were buying or selling stocks?
Yes.
Yeah,
millions of dollars worth.
Bruh. I can only imagine how that meeting went. Like they were like just listening to like, hey, yeah, so there's gonna be this pandemic coming, blah 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 blah. They walked out there, got on that phone and said, sell everything. Everything.
Sell.
That's actually something I don't understand where they're not supposed to use the information they have. Oh, sorry, Jay, but they're not supposed to use the information they have for their portfolio, right? Like
it's illegal.
Yeah, but how do you not, like, you're in the government, you're finding out all these huge world events before they even happen. How do you not use that in your thought process for investing? It's like it's almost impossible.
It's either you just don't invest or you just got to fall with the rest of the ship.
Yeah, they're all investing. So I just feel like it's obviously
you got to go down with the ship. I understand why though, because think about it. While everybody else is taking L's, you guys are going.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's wrong to use that information. I just don't know how they can really avoid it.
Not get involved.
That's insider trading, right?
Yeah.
That's called.
Yeah. Or you typically you would have, and I think now correct me if I'm wrong. Like I just literally start getting into this stock thing, but I think a lot of these guys have financial advisors that do it for them. And they're not supposed to share the information with them. So it's almost like you have somebody that's in between. But, I mean, it goes back to, man, the love of money, man. The love of money is the root of all evil.
Yes.
Same reason you got people selling toilet paper for $400 on eBay. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. It is a tricky situation. Like, do you just not allow these people to invest in stocks, which I don't know if you could even do, right? But then if you do, where is the line in the sand drawn as far as, you pretty much know everything before anyone else. So when something like this happens, like, do you just watch your millions go down the drain like everybody? Yeah,
fair or foul though. How are they up in the millions though? They got private businesses.
That's what. Hey, I think Billy. So I was talking to Billy. I'm like, man, how do these people even have millions of dollars to? Like, how much I get paid a year? Like,
I know. I need to be a senator, bro. I need to shoot. I'm in the wrong business. Oh man. Before we move forward, man. Hey, do you have the law enforcement down today?
Absolutely. So the last time we recorded a podcast was March 15th, and we came in at 23. As of today, which is the 25th of March, we're coming in at 27. So as always, we want to honor those fallen heroes by recognizing them by name and their department that they work for. So first off, we have Officer Christopher Walsh of the Springfield Police Department in Missouri. His end of watch was March 16th of 2020 due to gunfire. We have Deputy Kinturus, sorry if I'm butchering that name, Taylor of the Bibb County Sheriff's Office in Georgia. His end of watch was March 18th due to an auto crash. We have Deputy Christopher Corzelius, once again, sorry if I butchered that name, of the Travis County Sheriff's Office in Texas. His end of watch was March 18th of 20 due to an auto crash. And then last we have Officer Kaya Grant, of the Springfield Police Department in Ohio. End of watch was March 21st of 20 due to a vehicular assault. And something I just want everyone to recognize is we just don't read these names to read these names every time we record a podcast. I myself am in the honor guard where I work. I know that Ryan is in the honor guard where he works. Correct, Ryan?
Yep.
So we truly do want to honor these heroes for the sacrifice that they made. And we also want to let you know, if you're listening to this, if you're affected in any shape of way, if you want to reach out to us, even if it's just a talk, reach out to us. If you know that somebody needs something, reach out to us. We have connections throughout the country. I mean, the world at this point. Like, please, please, please reach out to us and let us know so we can help those in need.
Yeah, 100%. The sad thing about this all, man, is that we're facing a pandemic. as a world, and yet you still got
Yeah.
officers that are getting shot and killed. You know what I mean? And so, it's one of
Yeah.
those things where it's like, have we ever thought about the fact that we still got to go to work? We still got to make sure we, alleviate crime or whatever it may be. But not only that, we have to worry about coming in contact with people. One of my wife, I was talking to my wife last week, and she was saying like, babe, but like when you go to work, you can potentially put me and the kids at danger with this epidemic. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, you're 100% right. And that's the hard part, is that, not only do we sacrifice a lot, but our families sacrifice a lot. I did a I did a post called First Responder last week. And, the inspiration behind that was, not only are first responders at risk, and not only do we make a lot of sacrifices, but our families make the same, if not more, sacrifices. You know what I mean? My wife and kids are at home on quarantine. And so my wife is at home with all three of the kids. And, the kids get crazy after being inside for so long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then my shift is changing now. So, my wife, shout out to my wife, and shout out to the spouses of any other first responders out there, because you truly do make a huge sacrifice. Like, first responders out there would not be first responders if they didn't have a supporting spouse or a family member that is out there supporting you every single day. Like, we recognize you, I recognize you, because I realize, like, on one end, we go to work and, we put our life on the line every single day. But on another end, you guys are doing the same exact thing, if not more, for us. So thank you to you guys. And I also want to give a special shout out to everybody that's working in these hospitals right now. Like, police officers, obviously, our lives are in danger every single day, but you guys are literally on the front lines right now. Those of you EMTs that are riding in the ambulances with people that are getting sick in that confined space that's less than 6 feet, the nurses that have to get all up in your grill and stuff like that and make sure you're okay. Shout out to you right now, and shout out to your spouses as well, because like I said, without any of you, we would not be able to be the men and women that we are today. So shout out to you guys. And if you ever need anything, prayer, whatever it may be, we got you over here.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know I think I did tell you, my buddy from Pennsylvania called me a few days ago, who's a police officer out there. And he told me that things are getting so wild out there that they now have to respond to every medical run, because what people are doing is they're calling in fake medical runs. That way, when the ambulance pulls up, the medical crew or the medics go inside the residence. They raid the ambulance and take all their medical supplies.
Wow.
So now
That's
police
crazy.
officers have to go to every single medical run on top of all the other emergencies going on in the city. So times are definitely getting crazy. So just something to think about.
Shout out to the firefighters that actually have to, shout out to the firefighters that actually go into the scene first, and as opposed to police officers for once. We actually,
Called y'all second responders.
Oh man, we've been asked to stage. So like, hey, usually, so if you're not a police officer or anything out there, usually when we go on calls for service, we'll actually tell, like, if we know it's going to be one that, somebody could be getting hurt or potentially in danger or something like that, we'll always tell firefighters to stage. So that way we can go in there, render the scene safe, and then we'll come in, and then they'll come in after. Well, what we've been doing is we'll have the firefighters roll in first, make sure it's safe for us to roll in. So shout out to the firefighters for actually becoming the first instead of the second responders for once. I'm just messing with y'all.
Yeah, we losing all the followers now. They're like, yep, ain't listening to this no more.
I'm just messing with you guys, man. No, I truly, and shout out to the firefighters, man. Again, like, they fall in that same class, man. They are on the front lines tremendously on this thing, man. Like, I have some really good relationships with the firefighters in our city, man. And those dudes, shout out to them, because again, they're showing up first, and it's just hard, man. We're living in hard times. And so I want to make this a podcast for encouragement. But before we get to that encouragement, I want to touch on something. And one of the things that's been irritating and frustrating for me and is the fact that, our generation, and I say our generation because me and AJ are the same age. Billy's like a year younger than us. So we're all around the same age, and we would classify as an older millennial group. Some would call us Zennials, but, story for a different day. Anyhow, the fact that we're trying to go out there, live our spring break, live our best lives and all these other things, and not take this stuff serious. is really dumb if you ask me. I get it. You know, a lot of us are like, hey, this isn't that much worse than the flu. The media is polarizing things and all the other stuff. But, you know, I think I mentioned this on the last podcast is we have to be somewhere in the middle. Like we can't always, you know, just say, oh, this ain't that serious. Or on the other side of things, be like, oh man, the world is ending tomorrow. Like we got to find that middle ground. Right. And you got to realize like, you know, last week we went, so I think it was, I want to say it was Thursday night that the governor issued the stay-at-home order for California. And so I went to work Friday, and as I'm at work on Friday, you see a whole bunch of people just out and about like it's any other normal day. And for me, that was kind of frustrating because I'm driving around thinking like, I know all of you guys don't have pertinent business, because that's what the whole clause was, is like, hey, as long as you have some type of pertinent business, you can continue to do as you need to. But everybody else, you know, stay at home, or there's a stay at home order in place. So I'm driving around and I see all these people out and about just like it's any other day. And so I'm talking to my wife and I'm like, I know people can stay at home because I've worked patrol on holidays before. And on holidays, you don't see nobody on the street. Like Thanksgiving, New Year's, Christmas, there's nobody on the street at all during the day. So I'm like, I know people can stay at home. Like I know they can, but yet we're not taking it that serious. And the reason that's important is because, you know, just a few minutes ago, I gave a shout out to all the nurses, the firefighters, everybody that's in these hospitals, as well as, you know, police officers and EMTs, whoever may be. But we got to continue to, you know, be on the front lines of these because people aren't taking things serious. Like the reason they gave a stay-at-home order is so that way we can all stay in place and try to get, you know, either immune to this thing or let it pass over. But the longer we go out, the longer we want to, you know, party, the longer we want to do, you know, freaking spring break on the beach or whatever, the longer it's going to take for us to get out of this situation. And not only that, people are losing jobs left and right. Like unemployment rates are going through the roof right now. The stock market is dropping, all because we can't get through this as fast as we want to. So our generation, the millennials, we got to see the bigger picture in all this. Like we can't just sit here and act like nothing is going on. Like, you know, in my lifetime, in my parents' lifetime, this is probably one of the biggest things that we've ever gone through as a world that we've never even seen before. So I'm sure the governor, I'm sure the president, I'm sure everybody else ain't shutting the country down for the sake of shutting the country down, because believe me, there's a lot of money to be lost right now, a lot of money to be lost. And so I'm sure they wouldn't be shutting things down just for the sake of saying, hey, we're afraid that there's a little flu going out right now.
Yeah. If you were mad before, you about to be really mad, Ryan, because I don't know if you've seen this new thing I don't even want to say it's trending, because I feel like social media platforms are doing a really good job at like handling it and not letting it spread. But there's a thing called the coronavirus challenge. Have you heard of this?
Mm-mm.
Bruh, look it up. People are going to subways and just any like busy area, and they're just licking stuff. Like they're licking the handle people hold on to. They're licking door handles, and they're hashtagging it coronavirus challenge. And it's like, so a few podcasts ago, I think it was back when we had Donut Operator on, you asked the question. You said, hey, coronavirus, is it really, you know, what everyone's making it to be, or is it just the media blowing it up? And I think Donut said, he's like, I think it's 50-50. And I immediately was like, it's the media blowing it up, or, you know, people are blowing it up, or however it was worded. And I will be the first to stand here and say, like, hey, this is serious now. Like, there comes a time where you have to step back and realize, like, people are losing their jobs, losing, you know, money and whatnot, but people are losing their lives, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in your 20s and you're healthy and you have no fear of getting sick and being in a hospital and whatever, you're not going to die, whatever. Do you have an elderly person that you care about? Like, do you have a grandparent? Do you have a grandmother? Like, do you just care about people in general? Or are you that self-centered where you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna be all right, I'm gonna go do the corona challenge for some likes on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook? Like, there has to come a time like where you take a step back and you realize, right? Like, when I seen the numbers originally, I'll be the first to admit, I was like, this ain't nothing, right? I was in the mindset like more people died from the flu, but then when I was the same way, jump tremendously, right? I'm talking like within hours, the numbers were jumping and then people were losing their lives. I'm like, okay, this is something to take serious. Like Ryan said, like, I don't think the world as a whole has seen something like this in a very, 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 very long time.
Bro, the market,
generations.
The market has been, I think it lost, the most point is that it had lost since World War II. Like, not like, and I'm the same way, bro. Like, when it first came out, I was under the same thing. Like, man, this is just like another flu. This amount of people die from the flu every single year. But at what point do we all draw the line in the sand and say, you know what, like, no, this is actually serious? And, you know, a few episodes ago when AJ and I talked about who we were in our stories, you know, I told you guys about my father who has MS, and he's been on, you know, he's been bedridden for almost 3 or 4 years right now. That man does not have an immune system. He does not. And not only that, my grandfather, who's 95 years old, you know what I mean, who's slowly, you know, breaking down, his immune system is shot. So the fact of the matter is that the longer we don't take things serious, the more people like my mom, my dad, my grandfather, the more people like they get more affected by it than anything. And that's not even including, because, you know, there's a lot of this was actually crazy to me when I heard that, you know, 40% of the people that are hospitalized are ages 20 to 50 for this coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
So even though older people are dying from it, 40% of the people ages 20 to 50 are still being hospitalized from it. So the crazy thing is like, we're not necessarily just immune to it. You know what I mean? Like, what worries me is my kids, my wife. Like, what happens if I can't go to work? You know what I mean? And so we got to be able to take this serious, man. But I will shout out to those that are being creative and utilizing the God-given gifts that they've been given through this time to make other people more happy. So I don't know if you know, I think you might know where I'm going with this. But yesterday I was reading an article on Apple. You know, you get all these news updates, and I saw an article that said Ellen DeGeneres, Michelle Obama, and some people, they all attended this quarantine party that had about 100,000 people. So immediately I was like, what in the world? Like, are these folks really going out there like partying during the quarantine? And so when I read the article, I found out that DJ Nice he's been spinning, like, he's been DJing from his home on Instagram Live, and like thousands of people are tuning in, not just like people, but like
100,000.
Celebrities, like, you know, Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey, like anybody and everybody. And man, it was cool. Man, I tuned in, and like the music that he was playing, and he wears these different hats. So he was actually had country music playing. He had, you know, Latin music playing, hip hop, old school. And it was just cool. It made me excited, made me happy, man. Like, I'm spending time with my family. And so shout out to those that are taking it serious, but still finding ways to be, you know, unique and utilize their gifts during this terrible time, because those are the things that give us, you know, give me hope as a country. Those are the things that give me hope just as humans in general, because you find people that are still being able to utilize their God-given gift for the good.
Look, I ain't gonna lie, y'all might judge me. So it's like yesterday or 2 days ago, I'm just like checking out the social media stuff, you know, Instagram, Facebook. I hop on TikTok, and I see Justin Bieber was live. So I'm like, man, let me see what this is about. So I click on it, and Justin Bieber he legit was in front of this computer. Like, he has like a home studio, I'm assuming, and he had a guitar. Hey, he just did a whole concert, man. Like, he was just singing songs, and he was like reading it.
Oh,
and
that's
somebody
cool.
would like request a song that wasn't even his, and he'd be like, oh yeah, I got you. And he would say their name, and he'd do his little thing, and then play the whole song. And it was, like you said, there was tens of hundreds of thousands of people who tuned in, but you have to think, like, he's entertaining all of these people who are doing the right thing and staying at home. Ideally,
for free,
right?
For free. Even though they got a lot of money.
He can make a ton of money doing it. He can make a ton of money doing that, right? And there's a lot of other things going around, like the push-up challenge, right? Like, for all 20 people by the way, me, I know I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it today. But you know, things like that. Like,
and I tag Billy too.
Creative ways. Yeah, I'm gonna get Billy. I'm gonna light Billy up with that. But there's creative ways to do it. And shout out to all the essential workers, right? Like, if you work at a grocery store, if you work at a convenience store, shout out to the scientists, the truck drivers who are driving, you know, thousands of miles right now to get the supplies from point A to point B. The media, shout out to the media for still getting the news to us and getting the numbers to us and keeping us updated with everything. Like, if you're working right now during this time, shout out to you. Shout out 100%. To you, because you, whether you know it or not, is keeping this country going. You're keeping, 100%. Keeping the world going.
100%, man. Truck drivers, man, can you imagine if every truck driver just hung up their hats like, no, we're done? Or if every person in the media was like, no, we're done. Like, you are needed. Like, listen, you are needed. If you're an essential worker right now, like, thank you for sacrificing what you're sacrificing. We see you, we recognize you. Thank you. Yep, and if you're listening to this, we're gonna make a post out of that. If you're listening to this, tag those people that are out there going and doing that, and let them know that they're needed. You know what I mean? Shoot, hashtag is needed, man. We need to make that go viral. You know what I mean? Tag the person that you know is doing what they need to be do, and say hashtag you're needed, because they are needed. And so, with that being said, Billy, man, let's get into the fair or foul for today. We're gonna do fair or foul early because we have a new segment at the end of this. So I want to hear this fair or foul.
All right, fair or foul, guys. So in our new private Facebook group, if you guys haven't joined in the It's Needed Podcast Facebook group, it's private. You guys can join in. Michael Ross posted so since churches are also closed down, everyone doing live stream. Even if churches haven't done live stream in the past, they're all setting it up. So Michael Ross said, "My church's first time live streaming had less lag issues than Ryan during a podcast filming."
Oh man, hey,
is that
foul.
Fair.
No, foul
Fair.
or all
Because
accounts.
he knows. The listeners know what's up.
Hey.
And Ross is not only a listener, but he's up there with my boy Big Blue. Like, he's been following since the jump. He's
Ross.
super interactive. Like, hey, shout out to you, Ross, because I see you
foul on
Instagram
all accords
and Facebook, brother.
Hey, foul on all accounts, bro. I don't appreciate that. That's AJ's internet. Hey, but real talk, man. Shout out to everybody that's joined this group, man. The Facebook group, man. We're up to about, I think, 76 to 80 followers. Please, if you're interested in joining this private group, go on to Facebook, and it's under hashtag It's Needed Podcast. And me, AJ, and the Savage, we're interacting with all of our followers in there too. So, you know, that's kind of a better way to just have more direct access to us, because like I said, Lord knows on the other platforms it's just kind of hard. And shoot, man, I foul on my behalf, man. We had over 100 some odd message requests, and I just found this out. I didn't know this, but Instagram will slowly start to delete the message request after like 4 weeks. They'll just start to delete them, and so I started seeing the numbers go down. I was like, oh shoot, like. And usually I'll try to go back and respond to people whenever I get a chance, which I haven't had a chance lately. So foul on my behalf, man. I ain't been able to get back to people. So sorry, y'all, but I still love y'all. Whatever. That don't even make no sense, huh? But moving forward, guys. So what I want to do today is I want to get into a topic of what we can do during this time of pandemonium with the coronavirus. Shout out to my boy Mustafa from my Instagram account. He's a good friend of mine. He hangs out with ET and those guys. But I was on his live the other day, and we actually were doing a segment talking about perception. But one of the things that I actually started talking about on that segment of his live was the 4 Fs. And so, you know, we're all wondering like what we can do. We're all on quarantine. We don't know how long we're going to be on quarantine. We don't know if we're going to have jobs when we get out of this. We just don't know. So one of the things I've always prided myself on, and, you know, this is before we even, any talk of coronavirus, was the 4 Fs. And what the 4 Fs are is faith, family, finance, and fitness. And so, you know, I wanted to kind of break down those 4 areas today on how we can focus on those things during this time of, pandemonium with the coronavirus. And so the first thing I want to focus on is faith. And so, this whole thing is crazy. You guys all know me, AJ, and Billy, we're all believers in Christ. And, looking at the whole situation that we've been presented with this coronavirus, if you really look at it, it's forcing everybody away from distractions of our life. Like, this is the first time, think about it. Like, I've never in my whole life, even through 9/11, have never witnessed a time period where we don't have distractions that we like would typically have, i.e. entertainment, sports, like all sports are canceled. On a worldwide basis, movie theaters canceled. Like anything you can think of that people would go out there and do to socialize and have fun, all canceled. And so the way I look at barbershops. So the way I look at that is like, okay, well, if it's all canceled, this is my time to really turn back to the source of all this and figure out what kind of answers we can get out of it. Woo! Billy looked at me crazy right now. I sneezed. Billy jumped back.
Billy gonna break your mask out.
Oh man, hey, I was into the elbow with it though. So, but no, on a serious note though, this I was thinking about. I was like, man, this is actually maybe God's way of saying like, look, you guys need to come back and start focusing back on me. Like you really need to spend more time with me. And so for me personally, as a family man, this is my opportunity to really try to focus on my faith, not only for myself, but my family as well. So, Sunday we woke up yesterday, we watched church online together, which was cool. The week before we actually did a Bible study as a family together. And, if you're the man of the house, I mean, this is your opportunity to, lead your family from a spiritual standpoint. Like, it's my obligation to my wife and to my kids to make sure they're getting fed the word if we can't go to church, or make sure that they're getting uplifted when they're feeling negative. But how do you do that if you don't have a solid spiritual foundation? And so my goal for you guys and my goal for myself is to, one, focus on our faith during this time, because faith is priority, because that's the only thing that's going to give you answers. But not only is it going to give you answers, but it's also going to give you peace in the midst of the storm. So what are your guys' thoughts about, diving into faith as we suffer from this, this coronavirus?
Man, that's exactly it, man. You hit the nail on the head. I can't remember a time within the past 5 to 10 years where I haven't immediately turned to faith in a trying time. Like any trying time in my life, I like for the life of me. And the funny thing about it is I was setting up, everything down here to record today, and I was just blasting some Tasha Cobbs, a gospel singer, right? And that's my girl. Like she get me right. Like she get me in the spirit, right? Like ready to take on the world. And I turned it off, and it was silent down here because your boy Ryan was a little late. So, I was just sitting down here waiting on him. But
whatever.
But while I was sitting here in silence, the song was replaying in my head, and I literally thought that exact same thing. Like, wow, like I'm so grateful for so much right now because of this trying time. Like, it's forcing me to look back at all the things that I have and all the things that I've asked for and all the things that I've got. And just to elaborate on that a little bit further, I'll share this story, and it's a little personal. I haven't really put this information out there yet. So, consider yourself whatever, because you listen to the podcast. When I was a sophomore in high school, I was a terror, right? Like I was just out living life, smoking weed, hanging out with drug dealers, gangbangers. Like I was doing everything that I was not supposed to be doing. I would always walk by the music room in high school, and there was this short, chubbier white guy with a mullet, a big curly mullet, and he was a teacher. And I would walk by and I would roast him every single time to his face. I would roast him to his face. Like, look at your greasy mullet or your cowboy boots. Like I would roast him to his face every single time I walked by him. So I'm walking down the hall, and man, whatever. So I'm walking down the hall and I go to roast him, right? And he snatches the life out of me and kind of like turns me around. And to this day, I mean, his finger had to have abs in every section, because he starts poking me in my chest. And he's like, look, young man, he's like, the only reason you make fun of me is because of X, Y, and Z. And I would make fun of all the rest of the kids that would go to the choir room as well, right? Like, oh, you nerds, whatever, right? And he's like, the only reason you make fun of them is because you don't have the guts to step foot in here, blah, blah, blah. So I took that as a challenge, and I'm like, well, actually, I could sing. And he's like, oh, yeah. He's like, well, tryouts are in a couple weeks, if you got the guts, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going home. I feel some type of way about it, right? So I'm upset. So I go home. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I'm going to try out, man. Like, he ain't about to call me no punk. And he did this in front of a bunch of my homeboys, right? So now my homeboys think I'm a punk, right? So I go, I try out. Long story short, I was good enough to join an ensemble, like a very small ensemble. And he was the teacher.
I'm getting a sister act on.
Yeah, I'm putting it all out there. But his name was Mr. Casto, and Mr. Casto quickly became a father figure to me. He was one of the only positive role models in my life that was a male, right? So, long story short, I'm in ensemble for 2 years. We're super close. I mean, he was literally like a father to me. After 2 years, he sits us all down and he goes, hey guys, I want to tell you something. I have to leave. He's like, today is my last day, or this is my last week maybe. And I was so upset. I'm like, what? He's like, I have a kid. My kid's in like a premature kid. I got to move to a school close to my house to take care of my family. And I remember knocking stuff off his desk. I stormed out the classroom, didn't go back for the next day. A week later, I seen him. He sat me down and he goes, AJ, I want to explain something to you. It's in the importance of family. I'm going somewhere with this. Trust me. It's the importance of family. And he broke down how important family is and should be, right? He's like, I have a wife at home that just gave birth to a premature son, and I have a premature son that we have to take care of. Like, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to take care of that family, which is why I'm doing this. And it clicked. I was like, you know what? Like, that makes sense to me. Like, thank you for showing that to me. And I asked him, I go, what's your son's name? And he's like, my son's name is Tristan. And I was like, okay, cool.
Wow.
Fast forward.
Know where you're going with this.
My wife just gave birth to our son 3 weeks ago. And his name is Tristan for that exact same reason, because that was a turning point in my life where I realized how important family was. And ever since that moment, I would always pray for my son. I would always pray for Tristan. Even though he wasn't here, even though I wasn't trying to have a kid, I would pray for him. Like, Lord, just allow me to have a son. Allow me to have a son. I want to name him Tristan. I want him to be a Christian. Like, I want him to follow you, allow him to be healthy. So a couple nights ago, he's crying. He ain't stopped crying since he's been here. We're losing sleep. He's put us through the ringer, right? Like, he was in the NICU. We didn't have sleep in the hospital. He had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck twice. He cries more times than he's not. He just had developed baby acne. So he's got real bad acne all over his face. He lost weight during his first, when we took him to his first doctor's appointment. We found out he lost weight. So we're trying to figure that out. Like, he won't latch. I mean, there's so much going on. And I remember holding him in the middle of the night, a couple of nights ago, and I'm looking at him and he's just screaming. And I'm lost. I'm frustrated. I'm upset. And I just look at him and I smile and I go, you know what? And I just started praying. I said, God, thank you. Lord, you gave me exactly what I asked for. Like, I wanted a boy. I wanted a healthy boy, and you gave it to me. Everything else is whatever. Like, who am I to be upset that my child is crying and I'm losing sleep? I asked you for a son, right? And that same principle can be applied to so many different aspects of our life, right? Like, how many times have we been driving in our car and our car breaks down and it's the end of the world? We're so frustrated. We're so, my car, I ran out of gas, or the engine blew. Like, thank God you have a car, because there's somebody walking right now who would kill to be in your position. And the same thing applies to what's going on right now. So you have to be faithful, and you have to thank God for everything that's going on. Thank God that we have grocery stores that we could even go to, because there's people who would kill to just have the opportunity to go to a grocery store once in their lives, right? Because they know they can find the produce and the goods that they need. Like that's where we need to be. That's where our mindset needs to be. And I know that you I'm sorry, I'm going off, man.
I love it.
You got me in the zone right now, man. I know you shared the post where I kind of touched on this the last podcast. And I don't really get on there and comment back and forth. Like, if I see something positive and encouraging, I'll like it, or I'll comment. If it's somebody I know, I'll like it and I comment. But if it's something negative, I can tell you right now, 10 times out of 10, I'm ignoring it, right? Like, I'm not paying it any mind. But I did see that somebody on there wrote, or maybe it was on my post, I can't really remember, but he wrote, I think it was on mine on Facebook. He goes, instead of telling us what we need to be thinking, you need to be telling us how to prepare ourselves. You're a cop, not a role model. Okay. There's a lot going on with that.
Yeah, let's break that down.
With that statement, the only thing that I'm really concerned about is that mindset, because I know that mindset is where a lot of people are right now. And I need you to understand, like, there's a difference between preparation and panic. And we talked about it on the last podcast. Like, it's one thing to go out and prepare yourself, right? Like, we're prepared. Like, we have meat in the refrigerator. We have water just in case things go down. Like, I have a little battery pack that I charge up just in case electricity goes out. That's being prepared. But panicking is going out and standing in these lines fighting for toilet paper because you're afraid you're not going to be able to wipe your butt for a couple of days, right? Like, panicking is going out and buying all of the chicken in the grocery store so the 10 other people behind you can't go out and buy the chicken that they need. Like, that is panic, and there's a difference. So you're absolutely right. We do need to prepare ourselves. Be prepared. There's nothing wrong with that. But the moment you start going out here and acting crazy and fighting people and arguing with people and causing chaos, that's panic. And you're part of the issue at that point.
Well, and not only that, man. No, I love that. But, I want to touch on something, because we're talking about the 4 F's right now. And if you look at it, all panic is a lack of faith. If you think about it, that's what panic is. Panic is a lack of faith. And don't get me wrong, there have been times in my life that, I've been on the brink of panic or whatever it may be. But God always reminds me that when you panic, it's only evidence of your lack of faith in me. You know what I mean? And that's all it is. And so, you talk about names and stuff like that. And as we move forward to the next F, which is family, when I had kids, all of my kids, their middle names are biblical. So Grayson, his middle name is Enoch. And if you know anything about the Bible, Enoch was the one person in the Bible that God just removed from the earth without actually having to experience death because he walked with God, meaning he was so faithful that God just removed him. And so when me and my wife had got pregnant with Grayson, I had always knew that God had just given me, like, from day one, like, this is what I want his middle name to be. And so as a dedication, God, you gave me my child, but yet I'm giving him back to you. Like, he's yours first. And so Grayson, his middle name is Enoch. And so Grayson, every time I'm talking to Grayson or whatever, like, he always reminds me of the faith that I need to have with God, which is walking with God every single day. Like every single day. And so if you move forward to Gavin, his middle name is Asher. And if you know anything about Asher in the Bible, Asher is one of Jacob's sons. And Asher, his name means joy. And so every time his name means joy, like happiness and stuff like that. And so every time I look at Gavin, every time I look at Gavin or talk to Gavin or play with Gavin, he just reminds me of the joy that we need to have, even in times like we're going through right now with the coronavirus. And so, move on to my daughter. And my daughter, her name is Rylan, but her middle name is Love. And so if you look at love can cover anything. Love can cover multitude of sins, everything. And so Rylan, every time I hold Rylan and look at Rylan, she reminds me of the love that I still need to have for those, despite the frustration I may have. She reminds me of the love that I need to give everybody, even though they may not deserve to be loved. And so I say that to say, you know what? Faith is priority, but your faith that you have in Christ is going to allow you to have the love, the joy, and the faith that you need with whatever we're going through right now. And so that takes me to the next F, which is family. And family, guys, I'm trying to tell you, this is your one opportunity, even if you're a first responder, to spend time with your family. Because on my off days, typically on my off days, I'm out speaking, I'm out doing this, I'm out doing that, all this other stuff. Well, on my off days now, we can't go nowhere. So even if you're a first responder and you still have to go to work, when you come home from work, you still have to be at home now to stay at home order almost in every place you go. And so, guys, I really want to encourage you to just love your family and spend time with them. Get to know something new about your family. Get to know something new about your son, your daughter, your wife. There's some hilarious memes out there. I saw one that was, it was saying like, man, typically I'm what was the meme like? Oh, I'm watching sports or something like that. And as I'm sitting down chilling on the couch, I see this girl, and she actually looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll talk to her. And he's talking about his wife, but it really, as funny as it is, that's so true for many people. Like, we stopped dating our wives, we stopped dating our husbands, we stopped loving them. Me and my wife, we made this funny TikTok dance last night. We'll post it today. And so, but it's just things like that, like you can get creative. So we really need to take this time to focus on our families as well. You know what I mean? And so, Billy, I know you got a new son. What are some of the things that you've been doing at home to focus on the family with your wife and your son?
Yeah, well, and actually with less projects coming in means less editing time. So he's still super little, so I'm just focusing on being on the carpet with him, and we're trying to think of creative ways to help him learn, even though he's 8 months. So like, instead of just plopping him on the carpet with some toys surrounding him, we'll like tape the toy to the wall, so he has to like kind of crawl up the wall to take it off the wall and stuff. So right now it's super simple stuff, but just being engaged is basically what I'm focusing on right now.
Smart.
Did you say 8 months?
8 months, yep.
Wow. Where is time going?
I know, I can't believe that.
Wow, 8 months. Yeah, by the way, I don't know if, Billy has the cutest family like ever. Like, their pictures are so creative and funny. Like, the picture where he had the glasses on, and like the little, we got it.
Cracking me up, man.
That was a good picture.
Billy sets the bar high. I mean, AJ, what have you guys been doing, man? Just since you guys, and you, not only are you on quarantine, but you off of work right now because of the baby. So what have you guys been doing?
I am off work right now, which is kind of like even more interesting because we're getting a lot of our information from, the news or the radio or whatnot. So like, when I go outside, I'm terrified. I'm like looking around corners like what's going on out here? Everybody else driving around like it's a normal day, right? But I mean, that's exactly it, man. Like the other day we played, Shelby and I played Yahtzee, and I tore up in some Yahtzee, and it's just going back to that, like you said, like, we get so wrapped up in the daily grind in the hustle, and you know that we got errands and we got to grocery shop and we got to do this and we got to do that. When in all actuality, like everything that you need is in your house.
Yep.
Right. Like you can spend time with God in your house. Right. You don't have to go to church. I encourage you to go to church, but you don't have to go to church. Like you know, you can spend time with your family in your house. You know, like everything you need during these times are right there, and that's exactly it. And just being thankful for my family, right? Like looking at that little Tristan and just being thankful. Like, you know what? I literally looked at him the other day and I was like, you get on my last nerves, but I love you and I ask God for you, and we gonna figure this out. Like, we gonna figure this out. Like, trust me.
We had one of those nights with Rylan on, I think it was not last night, the night before. And she's like, from the time we brought her home from the hospital, bro, she's been a great sleeper, like the best sleeper at all my kids. Yeah. But dog, like that other night, man, I don't know what it was, but she would not go to sleep. And she was just crying. Bro, it was like, I was so frustrated. And then it started making me and Kimberly get frustrated with each other, bro. Yep. It was just one of them, like, but you know what, again, man, it's just a reminder, like, you know, we got to focus on the family right now. Like, those are my jewels. Those are my crown jewels. And that goes back to the beginning of this podcast of why we need to take this, you know, this pandemic so seriously, because you know what, when we don't take it serious, others are affected by it. This is the one thing, this is the one like virus or, you know, sickness that if I don't do my part, others will be affected. You know what I mean? It'd be different if it was like it only affects you, but it doesn't affect you. It affects everybody. And so we really need to get out of this unselfishness. I almost kind of look at this pandemic as like a massive reset for the world. Yeah. Like, you know, we've gotten ahead of ourselves so quickly because of technology that this was almost like a mass reset. Like, hey, you know what? Like, we're going to pause everything. We're going to pause technology. We're going to pause entertainment. We're going to pause like everything. And this is actually focusing or making us focus on just the bare bones minimum. Like, you know, you brought up a good point of like how church is good to go to church, but it's also a good reminder for me that the church is not a building. The church is us. You know what I mean? That's like church is at my house. You know what I mean? Like, church is at my house. So moving forward, you know, to talk about the third F, I want to talk about finance. So there's a lot of people losing their job right now. You know, shout out to people that have government jobs right now. This is one of those times from a recruiting standpoint of why you would want to be a first responder or, you know, work in a hospital because of job security. Now, not to say that, you know, government jobs have never laid people off, but, you know, it's probably one of the last things to go because, you know, right now people need first responders, people need, you know, medical staff, everything right now. But if you're not one of those people, then I want to encourage you, like, don't look at this pandemic right now as, man, my life is over, or man, I went from having this much success to zero overnight. Like, you need to start game planning. Like, what is your life going to look like when you come out of this? Like, now's the chance right now for you to plan. And cause think about it, like, if you're younger, you're going to have a clean slate when we come out of this. Like think about from a real estate standpoint. If you've been wanting to buy a house, like when this is all said and done, you might be able to go and buy a house that you want that's affordable now. You know what I mean? If you've never been able to invest in stocks, this is your opportunity to go research and invest because you're going to get everything on a discount. Like, instead of, you know, being worried about what we're going through right now, start game planning for how you're going to look when you come out of it. Like, this is your one opportunity to do it. Like, that's what I'm doing. Like, I'm like, you know what? Yep. My speaking is on hiatus. All my speaking engagements have been canceled indefinitely until whenever it comes back. AJ got corona over there. He over there. That's why I got my mask.
Look, I ran yesterday, man, outside for the first time. Listen, I almost fell out.
Me and Kimberly did.
I came back in the house. Shelby was looking at me like, "You all right?" I'm like,
we go.
I gotta get some cold air, man.
We're gonna talk about fitness here in a minute. And so you know, all my stuff is on hiatus right now. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, okay, well, when this is all said and done, when it's all over, what do I want my life? What changes do I want to make to the business? And so what I've realized is I'm trying to get my foot in the door of real estate. You know, I'm trying to get some real estate investments. I've actually bought some stocks. The stocks that I bought Expedia stock, and I bought Live Nation. And then I'm also looking at buying some more stock. And then I'm also looking at this other project that we've been talking about working on for a while, like getting that off the ground, because I'm realizing that when this is all said and done, you know, I want to be able to have things in place that the next time something like this happens, you know, I'm recession proof. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be recession proof, and that's got to be the mindset we got to have. So take this recession that we're going through right now as planning for the next recession, so that way you can be recession proof the next time it comes around. So, how are you guys focusing on finances, during this time?
There has never been a time where someone hasn't capitalized and came out on top. Like, there's never been a time, whether it's we were under attack during 9/11, whether it was the real estate market crashing, whether it was the Great Depression, like whether it was anything, there has always been someone or a group of people somewhere who figured out a way to come out on top. And that needs to be your mindset, right? Like, you can't, I always tell people, when I go to these schools or colleges or, whatever, small businesses, that you have to make up your mindset now. That way, when something happens down the road, like, you're ready. And that mindset is one of two things. You could be a victim or a victor, right? So you could be the victim, right? Like, I lost my job, which it does suck. I'm not downplaying that any bit, and please don't take it that way. And, this is going on, and, I don't know how I'm going to do this and this and this, and all of that sucks. And I know it's hard, but if you have the right mentality, you go into that with a fight mentality. Like, okay, I lost my job. Okay, I got to grind even harder now. Okay, bills are piling up. I got to grind even harder now. So that way, when the opportunity presents itself, you're going to be so hungry and so prepared that I would be a fool not to hire you, or I would be a fool not to invest in you, or vice versa, right? Like, you'll be so prepared when this is done, or towards the tail end of this, like, you'll be investing in me, or you'll be hiring me, because you'll be the one in position to hire people. And that has to be your mentality, like, going into anything in life, especially this. Well,
not only that, this is your opportunity to go out there and try the thing that you never had an opportunity to try because you've been so bogged down with your 9 to 5. Honestly, think about it. Like, when have you ever been forced to stay at home?
Right.
Like, your job just said, nah, you got to stay at home. Like, really never, right? So if this is your opportunity, some of you guys may be working from home, but let's be real. If people are working from home, are they really working 10 hours a day nonstop? Let's be honest, bro. If we being honest with it, like, let's be real. Like, some people at home, they probably turn on their computer, do a little clicks or whatever, so that way the other person on the other side looks like they working. And I'm just being real. Y'all may laugh, but y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. And I can talk this because I ain't staying at home. So for all y'all that are staying at home, I'm calling all y'all out right now. My cousin, this is the funniest thing, man. I have a cousin, I'm gonna put him on blast right now. He works from home, and so I guess there's ways that you can monitor whether or not somebody's working or something. Like, it looks like they're working. And so what he does is he has a wireless mouse, and he puts it in his pocket, and he just walks around the house and just clicks.
That's funny.
Just clicks, moves it every now and again.
Oh, that's funny.
Man. But
creative.
But my point is, it's creative. But my point is like, this is that one time, like, and we don't know when this time will come around again for it. So if you ever had, like, man, I have an idea, like, I use Billy for an example. Like, say you wanted to be a videographer, but you never had the time to start figuring out how to edit. You never had the time to record or take pictures because you always been so focused with your 9 to 5. And by the time 9 to 5 is over, you're tired. Well, this is your opportunity. Like, the internet ain't crashed yet. You know what I mean? So get on to YouTube and go on there and figure out, okay, how can I be the best videographer? So that way, when this is over, you can show up back at your 9 to 5 job and be like, man, this 9 to 5 is cool, but I found something else that I'm working on getting out of this 9 to 5. You know what I mean? As opposed to when this thing is all over, now you got to go back to that 9 to 5 and just pick up where you left off. Like, use this as an opportunity, not just for yourself, but for your family. Like, you bet on yourself. Like, this is your chance. Bet on yourself. Like, that dude, DJ Nice, like, I guarantee you, now I know this dude was killing it before because he did a low-key flex yesterday when he was like, yeah, man, I was, spending at the White House one time, and everybody was like, this isn't out. Oh, so he was spending at the White House. So he was pretty much established before he started doing this. I think it's called homeschool or home. I think it's home. Yeah, I think it's homeschool is what he called it. But my man, I guarantee you, when this is all said and done, there's going to be anybody and everybody that's going to be inviting this dude out to DJ at their house. Guaranteed. And not only that, my man went from, I kid you not, he went from 200,000 followers to let me see what he's at right now.
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. And I know it because I followed him. Let's see. It was DJ Nice. Hold on, bro, because D Nice. Oh, he's called D Nice. Bro. So he went from 200,000 followers a week ago to 1.4 million today on Instagram. Yesterday when I looked at him, he had 1.1 million. He's at 1.4 today.
Yep.
I mean, he found a way. He's almost on AJ status. I mean, my man is killing it right now. My man is killing it. But he found a way, though. So my point is that he found a way. He's doing it. And so the last thing I want to end on as far as the topic of the 4 Fs is your fitness level. So there's been this push-up challenge going on. I actually challenged AJ and Billy. But this is your time to also start focusing on your fitness. Now, yes, we don't have gyms open right now. But if guys that are locked up in state penitentiary could come out looking swole,
talk to them.
Then there ain't no reason why I shouldn't be coming out of quarantine looking swole.
Right.
And not in my stomach, if you feel me. You know what I mean? So,
man, bruh, listen, I just got to put this out there because, we transparent on the podcast, all right? Listen, I don't know where this came from or why it's here, but for some reason, I have been putting in some work on some cookies, man. Like,
hey, because he ate all his quarantine snacks,
bruh. So yesterday I woke up and this is a true story. You asked my wife. Yesterday I woke up, I sat on the couch and I was like, I'm gonna eat a bunch of cookies today. Like I already know. Like my mind is made up. I'm gonna eat a bunch of cookies today. So I went outside and I ran for 1.5 miles. And I ran hard. Like so hard I'm still like coughing today because it's like a little cold outside. But 8 o'clock, I think it was actually late. I think it was like 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock hit, 9 p.m. hit. And I was like, babe, you want some cookie dough? She was like, yes.
Bet.
So I give her some cookie dough. I eat some cookie dough, put the rest in the oven and, ate. I sat down and ate 8 cookies, bro, like in one setting. Like they didn't even make it off the pan. Like I was from the pan straight to the mouth. 8 cookies, blah, 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 back to back to back to back. But I knew I was going to do that, so I went out there and ran. And so I've also been doing push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and then, not to cut you off, Ryan, but, I got a newborn at home, so I'm like constantly holding him, trying to console him. So now I'm doing like squats when I'm holding him. Or like I'll do like a bunch of like calf raises because he like likes the bouncing motion.
Getting those glutes in.
Hey,
getting your glutes.
When there's a will, there's a way.
So don't be like AJ and eat all your quarantine snacks in one day. You spread them quarantine snacks out across.
Please
But fitness is important, guys. And if you guys have done any reading up on this coronavirus stuff, what they're saying is that a strong immune system is going to help you beat it a lot faster, prevent you from being hospitalized. And so, fitness goes into building up that immune system. But as first responders, which I recognize are a majority of people that listen to this podcast, fitness should be a priority anyways, guys. We shouldn't 100%. Have to get to coronavirus for fitness to become a priority. You know what I mean? Fitness should have been a priority. Now, I'm not going to tell y'all and sit here and act like, I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger when it comes to fitness. Like, I'm not. Like, I try to make sure I get in like 3 or 4 days a week, maybe. And I'm telling y'all now, I'm definitely not the best eater. Your boy went to the Kaiser a few years ago and was pre-diabetic. So I got to, calm down. I was. Billy, hey, Billy did one of these numbers. She's like, really?
We need a camera for Billy. Just for
we do,
like
bro.
that.
We do, bro. The facial expressions
Billy,
are priceless.
set that up. You don't always got to be on film, but for moments like that,
I'm just gonna film. I'm just gonna film it from my cell phone. I'm just gonna hold my cell phone up like this the whole time.
Yeah. Put the pressure on.
I know, man. But yeah, so so we just gotta. I'm not the best eater, but I have been trying to make better choices. So take these 4 Fs, from this podcast and implement them in your life right now. Faith, family, fitness, and finance, or finance and fitness, whatever order you guys want to throw them on, that's for you guys to prioritize. But I'm telling you, that's how we're going to get out of this. We need to come out of this pandemic stronger than what we were before we came into it. That's my personal thought on it. You know what I mean? So let's do. Hey, Billy, where are we at on time?
Hour 1.
Okay, so really what I want to do, there's 2 last segments. This one is actually going to throw both of you guys by surprise because I didn't tell you about it. And then we'll do the last one. But I want to do something, and this is actually going to put Billy on the spot.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it already.
So back to more law enforcement specific topic. This is called the scenario, or not scenario. I don't even know. The citizen scenario take. So you're a citizen, not sworn, and so what I want to do is I'm going to give you a scenario, law enforcement scenario, and I want you to tell me what you think officers should do before you find out exactly what officers actually did.
Get your editing ready, Billy.
So I'm not going to make it difficult, but what I want to do is, now that Billy has a mic, I thought it would be cool if we can actually figure out the mindset of somebody that's not a police officer, what they would do if given the same set of circumstances that officers dealt with. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So call for service is, there's a guy that calls police and he says, as soon as he gets on with dispatch, that I want you to send officers over to my house and kill me. He calls, he's being very combative, yelling. He keeps hanging up on dispatch. He calls dispatch back and he says, hey, come to my house, send all your officers. I want you guys to come over here and shoot me. So officers start responding. Dispatch dispatches you there, and you're en route to the location. As you are en route to the location, you call to see if there's anybody else that's present at the house. Dispatch tells you his mom lives there, and they do have a phone number for you. So they call mom. Mom agrees to meet you outside the house when you guys arrive on scene so she can talk to you about the situation, talk to you about the status of her son. Mom says that there's nobody else left inside the location. It's just her son. And so you get there on the scene. You start talking to mom, and mom is like, yeah, he's crazy. We've dealt with him before. You know, he's up and down. He's an alcoholic. And so he just keeps making these crazy statements. So as you get done talking to mom, you call him on the phone, and you have a partner on scene that calls him on the phone, and now you guys start to negotiate. And all he keeps telling you is that I want you guys to send officers in here to kill me. What do you do?
Well, I'm not going in there. Well, I guess you take mom out of the situation, so take her, behind the cars or even completely away from what's going on. Now, I've never been trained on negotiating or anything like that, but I would guess you stay out by your cars and you kind of get on the megaphone, and that's kind of the first step, because if he's asking officers to come in and kill him, I'm guessing he's violent, obviously, and probably, you don't know if he has a weapon. I'm guessing he does. So if I'm knocking on the door, bullets could come flying through. So I'm getting on the megaphone.
Okay.
But to be honest, after that, I don't know what the steps would be.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's say you negotiate with them. You've been on the phone with them. Let's say mom says she's agrees to leave the location for a while.
Okay.
Say you're on the phone with him still. He's not cooperating with you. He has highs and lows. His high is like, sometimes he's like, hey, I want y'all to send your rookie cops in here to kill me. But then there's other times that he tells you, hey, man, I just want help, man. I just want somebody to help me. Say this goes on for 30 minutes and you haven't made any other progress. Do you continue to stay there, or what do you do?
Well, I don't know if this is only in the movies, but you throw in those smoke grenade type things through the windows, and then you kick the door down.
Okay, you kick them down. All right, I like it. I love this. This is good.
Action movie.
This is good. So let's say that after some time period, he comes out of the house, and now he's standing in front of officers, and he'll say he's about 10 to 15 feet away from you, and he looks at you and tells you, what are you going to do if I charge at you?
I guess if he's outside, you guys already have those 40 millimeters ready, like the bean bags ready to go.
Oh, I think that guy. Okay. So, 40 millimeters. Okay. So
he knew the term though.
well, that's only because I talked to him about this. I just thought about this. So officers have a 40 millimeter. And if you guys don't know what a 40 millimeter is, it's kind of like, it looks like a big old Nerf gun. It's almost equivalent to like a beanbag shotgun, but it's like a foam or sponge or whatever.
Yeah, it ain't no Nerf gun.
No, it ain't, but it's a less lethal option. So let's say he's looking at you. You don't see any weapons or nothing like that. So he's adamant. He wants to smoke a cigarette or whatever, and he needs a lighter. So he's going back inside of his house to get a lighter. So he goes back inside of his house, and he's in there for 5 minutes. What do you do?
Wait for him to come back out.
Okay. So he comes back out, and this time when he comes back out, you're out there. Is obviously a lot of you guys at this point, and then in his right hand, you see about a 13-inch butcher knife in his hand. And he asked you the question earlier, what would you do if I charge at you? He's still not being cooperative. He's still, just rambling off. And now you see neighbors out there that he's passing their house, just looking and watching what's going on. What do you do?
I would tell him, if you charge, we're going to try a less lethal option. And if that does not work, we will be forced to shoot you.
Okay. So I like this. This is good.
This is fun.
This is good. So this situation that I'm giving Billy is a scenario that I was recently forced with, or had probably a few days ago. The same exact situation that I just gave Billy was the same exact thing that I was put in front of. Guy that is, off the chart, suicidal, everything like that, comes outside. And so ultimately what we ended up doing is we utilized a 40 millimeter to shoot him. That's a less lethal option. It's not a lethal round. It can be a lethal round depending on distance. But in this scenario, it wasn't a lethal round because he was about 15 feet away from us, 15 to 20 feet. And I was targeting his leg, his lower extremities. But in my mind, I had this, I call it the line of demarcation, which is that invisible line. Like if he goes past this line, we got to be able to react. So remember, if we go back in that story, he told me, he said, what would you do if I charged you? In my mind, that's telling me that he is trying to work up enough courage to do a suicide by cop, and he wants to know what we are going to do if he starts to run at us. So the second time when he came out, he started to walk towards us, even though we're telling him stop, put the knife down, stop. He's slowly starting to walk. So what I think was going to happen was that if we didn't, draw that line in the sand, he would have started to charge at us, and now we're forced to use lethal force on him at that point in time. So what it is that we did is we caught him right before he started to get to that point where we saw him start to walk forward, and we overwhelmed him with, force, which was that lethal force. I think we shot 3 or 4 rounds of less lethal, and then he ultimately dropped the knife. And I think what happened to him is physiologically and psychologically, he got overwhelmed and he realized like, oh, I don't want this. And we were able to take him into custody successfully. But the things I want you guys to think or get from the story is, let me ask you this, Billy. Would it have been wrong for you guys the first time you guys got there when mom was already out of the house? Do you think it would have been wrong to leave the location?
Yeah, because he's inside and dangerous. I mean, he could easily walk out and be dangerous somewhere else.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
But because
of
of where we're at in society with law enforcement, it would have been okay if you would have decided after 30 minutes that we're going to leave. And here's why. Because at that point in time, when he's in his house, remember mom had left the location. He's only a threat to himself at that point in time. So I asked you the question, is it a crime to kill yourself?
I guess technically, right? I don't know.
So it's not a crime to kill yourself. This is good, and the reason this is good is because I want you guys to understand something. Like, back in the day, and just kind of our intuition as police officers is, if there's somebody that wants to hurt themselves or hurt others, we want to go in there. Our natural inclination is to go in there and help them and stop them. And so that's what officers would do. So, back in the day, we would actually go in there even if there was nobody else in the house and try to get him to come out or try to, prevent him from killing himself. But now that thought process is changing. It's like, hey, if he's no longer a threat to nobody else, and if he's no longer, if he's only a threat to himself, we're going to leave. So we actually, in that call, we actually started to leave the location. The only reason we came back is because he called us back and said, hey, I'm willing to come outside.
But if I was a neighbor and you were leaving, I'd still feel threatened as the neighbor.
Yeah. Yeah. But you got to think, though, if we go in there and shoot this guy, then what is his mom going to say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the way the law is written now is like, it also takes into consideration, did we create an exigency that forced us to use lethal force on this person? If an officer creates an exigency that now you got to use lethal force, well, now the courts are going to use that and criticize that of whether or not it was a justified force or not. And so, AJ, are your practices kind of similar out there where you guys are doing policing?
Yeah, they're pretty similar. Yeah, they're pretty similar. Now we wouldn't leave just because we have like a obligation to preserve life. So, because we had a very similar situation a few months ago, except the guy was in like a detached garage, almost identical. Like the mom called and we opened the door to the detached garage just because we wanted to make contact with the guy and see like if these were like real claims or false claims. And when we opened the door, he grabbed the gun and put it to somebody's head. So then we backed off. We immediately called SWAT. We have a 24-hour SWAT team. So we called SWAT, but it still takes a while for them to get there. So we had 2 officers who were like kind of in like a really bad area. So they were like hiding behind a hot tub. I was able to get behind the engine block and hop on the PA system. and we just kind of talked to him back and forth. He ended up releasing everybody, and then he dropped a pistol outside of a window, and it was the pistol he had. But we're like, so we have a saying, you know, if you're suicidal, you're homicidal. So we go into every suicidal run just like it's a homicide run, right? Like there's no difference. If you tell us you're going to kill yourself, it's the same as telling us you're going to kill somebody. So we go into that with a mindset like, okay, if you had one gun, there's another gun somewhere. So we actually ended up talking him out, and it took a while. We were out there for maybe like an hour by ourselves, and then as he was coming out, SWAT started to pull up. So we just went in and went hands on, but pretty much everything spot on. Except we wouldn't leave. Like if somebody calls and says they're suicidal, like we have to take them
and
to the
that's
hospital.
what's crazy for us. Like our practices are changing in California. We've left multiple situations where if you're just a danger to yourself, we will leave. Like we were
wild.
because and here's where it came from is like we were going to these calls with these suicidal subjects, and when they want to do suicide by cop and we end up killing them, well now it puts us in a position is like, well, why'd you guys kill them type thing.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing is now becoming is like, well, yeah, you're a danger to yourself, but as long as you're not a danger to anybody else, then we're just gonna leave. But it's still a very, very difficult decision because we did bring that up. I said, hey, look, if we leave now, we're going to get a call back. And at this point in time, what if he leaves and goes to somebody else's house and takes somebody out, whatever it may be. And so it's kind of one of those situations like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't situations. And those are the tough things about suicide by cops. So I want to do that. I want to do that segment. And I think it's cool now that you have a mic now to not to put you on the spot, but be able to talk about real life situations that we deal with, me and AJ deal with, and then see what your thought process is, because there's a whole lot of people that will listen to our podcast that aren't police officers, and they may have the same mindset as you. And so that way Billy or AJ and I can kind of shed light onto that thought process.
Mm-hmm. No, I like it. I like that segment a lot. It was fun. But speaking of segments, I think we have something entertaining.
Yeah, we're gonna end it off. We're gonna end it off, y'all. So we talked about. Go ahead and tell them about what this segment is, AJ.
So, as y'all know, we post a lot on social media. You know, we try to promote the podcast. We try to get some positivity out there, some awareness, some educational segments. With that said, for anybody who posts something on social media, especially to the public, not just in your inner circle of friends, y'all already know, y'all get some wild comments, some wild messages. So what we're going to try to do every single week is we're going to try to pick the funniest, most outrageous, most entertaining comment, and we're going to bring it to you, and we're all going to share a laugh about it, because if you can't laugh about it, then it's just going to eat you away. So we're going to laugh about it. So Billy, you got that pulled up for us?
Yeah.
And what I don't need, real quick, what I don't need is y'all just to start coming out here with some outlandish stuff just so y'all can get features on the podcast.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, if anything, actually, I'm gonna ask y'all this: if you see a crazy comment on any of our posts, I want you to just comment like LOL or just laugh at it. That way we know, like, okay, y'all laughing at it. Like it's good. Because sometimes people do post like something so crazy where we're like, we got to delete this. Like, we don't want this out there.
Yeah.
Like, it's threatening or it's like demeaning or whatever. But if you see something crazy, just do like the little laughy emoji or put LOL or something like that. Then screenshot it and send it to us so we can see.
Yeah, DM us. Screenshot and DM, I think.
Cool. Let's do it.
All right, here's that first negative comment. Should I read the name?
Yeah, bro, put them out there.
All right, from Shasha Sasata, and they start off she SHII. I'm not cussing. SHII. I stole a dude's phone, and I'm watching this in my broke A house with my papa is a drunk and beats me, and we ain't got electricity or running water, and I got more than most now. So
you gotta get the context though. Give the context.
I should give him the context. But it was the post about how AJ was saying, like, look, it's chaos right now, but look at what you have. Like, in America, we are so much better off than most. So this guy still wanted to complain about his American life. And if this is all true, that's horrible. I feel bad for him in that situation, but I don't think he's being honest.
Well, I mean, this is the thing about it, right? Because I'm gonna be upfront. When I first read it, I died laughing, and I was like, "Should I delete this? Like, this is kind of crazy." Bro. But you got to think, like, he starts it off, and Billy says, "She." Hey, when he starts it off, he goes, "I'm chilling in my broke bleach home with this phone I just stole." Right? So you're like,
yeah. Because AJ was just saying, if you have a phone, you're doing well. Like,
right. Like, you done messed up from the jump. Like, you already done incriminated yourself. Like,
oh, yeah, bro.
So that whole thing was wild. I think that was like some teenager in a suburb in like a $500,000 house.
In the
suburb.
Hey, shout out to my man. I appreciate it.
Shasada.
Shout out to Sasha Shashada. You know what I mean? He definitely.
Right there.
Thanks for leading off this negative comments, section for us, because that was great. I still think, AJ's guy that had the little kid that said "F you" was probably one of the funniest too.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, this is gonna get good because I'm gonna start scrolling through some of these DMs and picking out some gems.
Oh,
I get some wild stuff. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, y'all ain't got nothing better to do, huh? Like,
oh, me too, man.
Harass me. Like,
oh man. So. Hey guys, this was a phenomenal episode. The last episode we had got really, really good reviews. So like I always tell you, if you like this podcast, please give us a 5-star rating, but also give us the review. The reviews help us grow. The reviews tell us our flaws, and also the reviews give us the content that we need to keep putting out there. So we love you as always. Breaking Barriers United is going to continue to grow. AJ is going to continue to grow. I know he got something. Go ahead and take it away, AJ.
I want to take it away, man, but I do want to say one last thing. The city of Columbus, the city council president for the city of Columbus, wrote this on his Instagram page, and I just felt like I had to share it. And he said, just because you have to be physically distant does not mean you have to be socially distant. That's all.
That's it. Right there. Well, you dropped the mic on that one, man. So don't be socially distant from us. Hit us up. Join our private Facebook group, the It's Needed Podcast. Oh, it's funny. It is funny. And so shout out to those that are on there right now. We appreciate you. And honestly, I know you guys gave us a lot of topics on there, so we will use some of those topics for future podcasts. I just thought it was fitting just to talk about the 4 Fs today, just as we're going through this time with the coronavirus. So we love you guys. And with that, we'll see you next week.
Peace.